the Irish Mortgage Brokers, join us now to discuss that. Good to see you.
Great to see you.
You're in great form. I suppose it is Christmas week, so why wouldn't you be? Angela, 2011 has been a tough year. 2011,
yes, I think has been an extremely tough year. I think we started off the year with some level of hope that the market was going to level out, which certainly didn't happen. I think the beginning of the year for first-time buyers especially, there was a lot of confusion over the tax relief at source. The current government in its initial manifesto had signalled that maybe that would end in June, and we all know it's a very good outcome because not only has it continued, but it will absolutely improve into 2012. I think if I look back, if I was to pick a positive on 2011, I'd say the onset of the auctions. We've seen 4 ALSOP auctions now. And I think why I see it as positive is I think most certainly they've been very affordable properties, and it's brought a level of transaction. Transactions have happened in the market, because that's absolutely what we need for any level of market. We certainly need to see more transactions happening.
Carl, there was a brief glimmer of hope when they discussed debt forgiveness for a couple of days, but that was...
It was shot down, and I suppose the thing that is going to be a big positive in 2012 actually is the changes to our debt laws that will come in. We have to present a bill before the end of the first quarter, which means sometime prior to April the bill will be there. I'm sure that it will probably go through fairly rapidly, and I think it's reasonable to expect that there will be some mechanism in there that will allow people in a humane manner to go under if that's what they need to do, because you simply can't have a situation where no mortgage holder is left behind, where you make it impossible for them to go bang, but it's also impossible for them to pay the loan. So that is going to be something that we do see in 2012. And that there'll be an upside to that it will release a lot of people from debts that they can't pay. The downside is we're also likely going to hear a lot of stories about people who lose the family home and the like. Having said that, next year credit is going to be something that I think will be more widely available. Bank of Ireland have already pledged €1.5 billion in mortgage lending next year. Now, if they do that, then they will have supplied 3/4 of what we will have done this year, just as one bank. So assuming that other banks stay in line with what they've been doing, I think that there should be more mortgage finance available.
But surely they'll have to just to compete, the other banks.
Well, that would be what you'd expect, but they haven't come out and said we're putting a figure on what we plan to lend.
What about all these NAMA properties? Any chance that they're going to be offloaded next year?
We're expecting to see some NAMA properties come on the market early next year, January or February, because there was an announcement, I think it was the beginning of Q4, that NAMA are looking to offload up to 5,000 properties next year, and this is to do with the NAMA-related mortgage, where the purchaser would be protected up to 20% against negative equity. And we would expect to see the first of those come on the market, I hope before the end of January. OK, now if somebody is sitting and has been renting for the last few years, let alone months, 2012 for first-time buyers, there is an extra incentive to go and buy. I think there's an extra incentive. There definitely is an extra incentive in that the tax relief is 30% at source for anyone buying in 2012. I think it absolutely comes back to the individual's own circumstances. I think, like, it's Christmas, we want to keep everything really positive, but I think getting the euro sorted out and getting the economy sorted out, I think is fundamental to what's going to happen in the property market in 2012, because if people are nervous about the overall economy, they're not going to have the confidence to buy. But I do think if we get that sorted out, there's good incentives there, we will see more properties come on, and I would think prices have been going down now for 5 years. They're not suddenly going to start going up. But I think over the year, if we see a level of transaction come back into the market, I think we will see prices levelling off. Okay.
Carl, we asked you both to pick out your bargain home to buy and your dream home to buy, and you've picked a good a home for an investor, is it? Or?
Well, yeah, I love the house that I live in. We just built it this year, so I couldn't think of anything that would be, you know, right down my alley other than an investment property. So I was looking at one on Drumcondra Road Lower, which is split into 5 units. It's a pre-63, which means it's been let out ever since 1963, and therefore you can change around the inside of it without requiring planning permission. I'm actually going to go view that later on today. So
right. Okay.
How much is it?
It's €250,000, and it will yield, assuming that you get the rent that is kind of standard in Drumcondra, you'd be making about 13% potentially on it. So I think it represents really good value for an investor, in my opinion.
Okay, and
it's a buy.
If you could, you'd blow the budget on what? Yeah,
if money was no object, then I've always had a dream of being able to just walk down and get into the ocean.
Yes.
Now, you can do that maybe on Portmarnock Strand or somewhere as a member of Joe Public, but wouldn't it be nice if you could just go out the back, stretch, and suddenly be right there at the sea? So I picked a really swank place out in, it's either Dalkey or Killiney. Actually, I know the bay because I've dived in the bay that's opposite there before, and oh, it's just absolutely smashing. It's the style of property would be one that I'd probably want to change a lot of things about it, but the location is just to die for.
How much is it?
It's beyond what I'll ever afford. It's €2.5 million.
€2.5 million.
But you said money wasn't an object, so I went for.
He was allowed dream. He was allowed fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay, Angela, what about you? Your bargain?
My bargain, I went back to my roots. I'm originally from Newbridge, so it's an area I know quite well. I grew up on the edge of the Curragh, and I found a 5-bed bungalow. It's actually a receiver sale, and I just think it's a great house to bring up a family in. I know the location. Go outside the front door and you've wide open spaces, but yet you're very near the N7. You're only about 1,300 metres from Newbridge, and I think it represents really good value for money because the asking price is 219,000. So you'd have change out of the 250 you gave us to do it up.
Okay, and you've
And
blown the budget on
My
what?
dream home, I decided I'm a romantic at heart, and I looked at loads and I found a house, 25 Orwell Park. And for me, it's a home. It's absolutely more than a house. It oozes charm, personality. It's about 2.5 miles from the centre of Dublin. Go out the back garden, you would think you're in the country, and it is just, for me, if I had 1.7 million to spend, I'd be very tempted.
Okay. Well, listen, Angela and Carl, thank you so much for all the advice that you've given us and, of course, our viewers over the last year. And we hope to continue it on into next year. And we wish you both a happy Christmas and happy New Year.
And many happy returns. Thank you.
Now, coming up, can you remember your favourite sweet as a child? Stay with us, as after the break we'll be taking a trip down memory lane, recollecting the tastes and smells of our local sweet shop. Don't go away.
I've already got mine.